For this episode, we're joined by Bert Schildermans, our head of AI at Fight Club, and Nicolas Dons, former CMO at Fight Club, to reveal how an AI tool became a client's secret sales weapon. They'll break down the implementation, the results, and the framework that helped turn overwhelming leads into a qualified pipeline. Over to Bert and Nico.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Pact, our Fight Club podcast series, where we're talking about a lot of AI stuff. But today we want to talk about something else. My name is Bert Schildermans. I'm the head of AI at Fight Club and also the head of growth. And today I have one of the knowledge experts, I think, in the field of B2B marketing next to me, especially in the Benelux region. Hello, Nico.
Hey, Bert.
I'm glad to have you.
Very happy to be back here.
For those of you who don't know, Nico is one of our colleagues that have been working at Fight Club for a very long time. And we're very glad he's back for our podcast series right here. Nico, I just wanted to talk with you today about B2B marketing, about what has been changing in like the past few, let's say 2 or 3 years, how we see AI coming within the B2B scene, how things have changed there. Is it like a different way of doing outreaches? Are there like other things our people should know that we actually want to start doing at B2B marketing?
Yeah, that's a very big question.
Yes.
So I think I want to unpack the question a little bit because there are a lot of very interesting things that you touch upon.
Call the podcast series Unpacked.
Ooh, great. No, so first thing, B2B marketing definitely has changed. Like, when I started with Growforce, the agency that then was acquired by Uptrust, our biggest lead generators were ebooks. Yep. So we created a lot of ebooks. We then ran ads. We then did a lot of organic stuff around that, making sure that they then were captured in the CRM, nurtured, and then we convert them to customers. That used to be the playbook. But nowadays, I'm not sure that ebooks work anymore. No. I think now with that people have so easily ready access to knowledge through ChatGPT, through AI overviews, through all of that shortcuts the way to get that valuable info. Mm-hmm. They're not that interested in getting ebooks anymore.
Yeah. And do you think, sorry for interrupting, do you think that's like, because ebooks are something that everybody was doing because it used to work very well, that there's like an abundance of ebooks and nobody really cares anymore about these ebooks? Mm-hmm. Because everything works, of course, in terms of content and whether something is a valuable piece.
Yeah.
But for ebooks to work, you also need to want to download the ebook, of course. And then whenever it can be as valuable as you want, whenever you start reading it, but if like the premise is not there or if there's like an abundance of ebooks, why should they go for that ebook?
I think the way that people consume information has changed.
Yeah.
Where they wanted to have that knowledge summary in an ebook that they could then download. Now they just want a shortcut. They have a question, they immediately want the answer. They don't want a 35-page ebook to go through that. And then, let's be honest, a lot of ebooks are filled with crap.
Yeah, of course.
So, it was a format that used to work really well.
Yeah.
People expected a lot of value of it, but now they know, okay, a lot of ebooks are shit. There's different ways to get information. So the way that they consume info is changed. And I already touched upon like ChatGPT and I dropped the AI search stuff. I think that's also a huge thing in the way the customer journey works. Mm-hmm. In B2B, we did a lot of these ads, top of the funnel, to make sure that if people had a specific pain, a specific problem, we would do lead capturing and make sure we had their info and then we could nurture them. But now in that phase of the funnel, while they're still researching, while they're still aware of that problem, but not sure what the solution could be, they tend to go to ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google AI overviews, and find the solution there, do all the research themselves. Yep. And then the moment that they're ready to buy, that's when you see them popping up on your website. That's when they fill in a contact form, a trial form, a demo request, and so on. Mm-hmm. But as a marketer, the moment that you have influence on the customer journey, that shifted, where we were able to be very, very in the beginning of the funnel, the awareness acquisition phase. Yeah. Now we're more in late acquisition, early activation. That's where we now tend to be able to interfere a lot. Yeah. And to be able to win in that first phase of the funnel and to make sure that we get their attention, we show up when they do the research. We need to optimize for those AI-powered search engines, for the ChatGPTs, for the Perplexities. And a lot of people think, that's something for B2C and my e-commercers, but no, it's also for B2B.
Way more important for B2B, I think.
Insanely important for B2B. But it's so often overlooked that people are not making sure that they show up there, not creating content for that, not doing all the optimizations to make sure that they're there. But it all starts in those AI overviews. in my opinion.
In your opinion, because then you're actually touching upon geo, which is like a new buzzword as well, with a lot of clients asking for it. Where do you see like the biggest part of geo coming into that funnel? Do you think it's like really the awareness phase, where, as you mentioned, people analyze stuff, or is it also really in that conversion phase or the activation phase, because they need to be considered as a solution for the problem they are facing? Because what I'm seeing today in AI chatbots and whatsoever is that the way people search have changed a lot as well.
Yeah.
We were used like, okay, you have Google, I'm going to type in 2 keywords and just go for it, and I'll see the first 2-3 results. Are these the best ones, yes or no? But right now you tend to search more for like really broad things in the ChatGPT, and then you go towards Google whenever you actually had the answer to go towards a certain website or something else.
Yeah. I think awareness should be your first priority. Make sure that if people identify that they have a pain, a problem, something that they want to be solved, that you're definitely mentioned, or that the solution of yours is mentioned, or some of your content is being mentioned. I think that's the first thing. But the second thing, and I really like that you said like, wait, the different phases of the funnel, because I believe that same technology that it's being used in those AI searches, ChatGPT and so on, that you can use that to put it on your own website as well. The moment that someone is on your website and they're having questions, you don't want them to have to click around, maybe don't find it, but that there's like maybe a smart trained chatbot on your website that helps out.
Yeah.
I work for a startup called JobRunner, and what we did is that on our documentation, we put a chatbot that is trained on all the documentation, all the guides we have. People can talk with that. We have a lot of conversations each day. They talk with that. And if they talk about a feature that is not in our free version, but in our paid version, it says, this is the answer. By the way, it's part of the pro version. If you want, I can give you a free trial. And a form pops up, leave their email address, and they get a free trial. And I think in B2B, that's a way we can do that, to go from the activation to revenue phase maybe, and leverage that same LLM technology to create a shortcut for people to give that information and to have a good experience that will lead to conversion.
Because it's really cool that you mentioned it, because that's like a really a topic, especially for JobRunner right now, or that's the way it can work for JobRunner. What I see a lot of times within AI these days is that people find a tool and they have that tool, but it's like not exactly what they want. And especially in the B2B or B2B SaaS case, then they are really like, yeah, but this is my solution and my solution is different than all the others. And I really need to have something implemented for my own. Do you see there that it's like, okay, you need to start creating workflows yourself, creating AI tools yourself? Or is it something like, no, you should tweak it because you're not that different than all the other B2B cases or companies?
It, of course, depends a lot on which specific tool that you want to use. If you want to do a chatbot, there are a lot of nice solutions out there that allow you to train a chatbot based on your entire database. So you give it a lot of context, it does the training, then you do a nice prompt, and then it's actually ready. I don't think that you should build your own chatbot from scratch to do that. On the other hand, there are other ways where I think it's way more valuable. An example there is outreaches. Like if you want to do an outreach, you could use a tool like Lemlist. We've done a lot of those in the past, where you have a prompt that you can write for all your emails, and then it's a tiny bit personalized. But I feel that for a lot of B2B companies, the way that you need to do outreach has changed. It's not anymore just personalizing based on company name, function title. I believe that you should add a personalization where you show that you did the research, that you know what that company is about, why your product would be relevant, do all the thinking that they should do, that you do the thinking for them, and say like, okay, I saw you do this. I saw that you actually build a new plant in that country. I saw you're struggling with this. What we do is we have a solution where we can help you with XYZ. And to build those kind of custom solutions, custom outreach agents, I think that is something you should build yourself. But again, building it yourself in a smart tool like Anytemp, where it's a bit of visual coding that you're doing to do the different steps. Make sure you have some agents that do the search for you, that do the validation of the information, that craft the emails, that prepare it for you. And I think that's the way that you should look at it. Don't go there for a legacy solution, but build a little bit yourself in those kind of situations.
Yeah, right. Because what you're seeing today is, you already mentioned tools like Lemlist. Clay, for instance, is also one of the tools there. And what I see today in Clay is actually the same thing as you mentioned, where they do like the full enrichment phase for the companies, and then you can also create some messages just from that output that it gets there.
Yeah.
Is that valuable for companies as well to start doing it that way? Because it's a lot easier to just start using Clay instead of having a full enrichment tool. Or do you think like, no, the added value that you get from really, creating the tool itself with your own parameters, with the own things that make your company special?
Yeah.
Is it like an extra surplus, or should we see like, no, first test it out in Clay and then we can continue further?
I think yes to both questions. So on one hand, if you as a company want to do everything yourself, it can be scary to start building a flow in N8N because it will be very overwhelming and there are so many things that can go wrong. Like I've played with prompts where I thought like, okay, everything is great. But then because of 2 words in my prompt, my output was not great. I tweaked the prompt a little bit, did some things, and then suddenly the outcome was great. And then also models change. And then for some things, you need a different model. So if you don't want to be busy with that is step 1, I think it's perfectly okay to explore Clay first. It's super easy. If you're able to use Excel, then you're probably able to use Clay as well. So super easy. Then once you've done that, then you see, in Clay, I also have an AI agent that I can prompt and then it will do some things for me. That is then step 2, that you start thinking that way. Like I can have AI agents that do stuff for me. And then at that point, what I had is that I found, okay, now I hit the limitations of Clay. Because I always need to work in this Excel. I need to have this defined structure and it can only do this. But what if my fields are variables? What if they needs to check different websites? I want to then send it to another tool. Then I hit the limits of Clay.
Yeah.
The moment you hit that limit, then you should start looking at tools like N8N, or maybe the new OpenAI agent builder is also something that you could use. Only downside there, big fan that they're doing those things and making it easy for everyone. Downside there, you have vendor lock-in. You're locked in to just use their models and do that
perplexity research on their.
So that's a little bit of a downside there.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to build out a full-fledged flow, I think N8N is the best thing. And if it's too much to do yourself, reach out to agencies that can help. Because I think with Fight Club, you're also able to build those flows for customers.
Yep.
You build it once, it runs on their infrastructure. You can easily tweak it for new campaigns
and parameters. Yeah.
So I think like getting an agent for you is like training a new employee. That you then don't have to pay each month that much anymore. You just need to make sure that his seat is there, but then that's it.
Yeah.
Like the agent is trained, it can work for you. It just needs some space to work. But apart from that, it will work and do a lot of amazing things.
And you can iterate the agent on feedback that you're gathering, because that's another thing that I notice with like the limitations, as you mentioned yourself with Clay. You can't really make the whole flow relearn again. Whilst when you're in N8N, you can actually give another feedback towards your flow saying this worked really well. We need to have these kinds of additional research in there because it will become better.
Yeah, 100%.
I do believe myself as well. You already mentioned that B2B marketing scene has changed. And as you know, I worked for SaaSmic before my Fight Club journey, where we also did a lot of B2B SaaS marketing for a lot of companies. And what I just noticed is that the market, becomes like crowded, as in everybody is doing the same thing. Everybody is doing these outreaches. Everybody is, as you mentioned, delivering white papers, ebooks, downloadables. Everything is like the same kind of whitewash thing. And I think being like, the one that actually gives purpose already or some quality in the first message, like, hey, I noticed you with your company did X, Y, Z, can really, bring an impact, or can give you like that aha moment that you always want to have in marketing, where they're like, hey, they really do know their shit, or they really did like the full research just to send towards me.
100%.
Are there like percentages or other kind of numbers that you already have from some flows where you say like, by doing this, we actually have a better open rate, click rate, response rates? Any of these kind of topics on our number?
Definitely. I'm going to share a story with you that maybe gives a little bit more information. So there was a software company that I worked with, and the ticket size for the deal was quite high. So they knew I cannot just send you an email and people will not immediately buy. So that is not how it works. And what we did there is that we introduced as many touch points as possible. Like, at Fight Club, you've done like multi-channel outreaches where you introduce multiple points.
Yeah.
What we did there is that we thought, okay, let's run an experiment with 30 people and let's, of course, show them ads about how amazing the company is, but also send them a physical letter that was also personalized by an agent in an A10. So it was a letter that was a bit about their company and why we thought that this would be relevant for them. And instead of then trying to sell it to them, we said like, okay, if you want, we can show you a demo or get a free trial or whatever. We send them a letter and then with a specific magazine, was with a handwritten note, send it to 30 people. Then we sent a cold email, also completely automated with NA10, and then a connection request on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Did it with 30 people. We had from those 30 a really nice reply rate. We had, I think, around 5 of them that positively replied to that. 5 out of 30 is pretty good. Mm-hmm. And of those 5, 1 already signed a deal of 35K. Yeah. And then others we're still talking with. So this is, of course, just like one specific story. But what I'm trying to show with this is that I don't believe in just like blasting to everyone anymore and just do very basic things. No. Really think about how can we, like you said, bring value already in the first step. And then I believe with personalizing in every step of the journey, in the subject lines, in the emails, in the connection request, so that it's not that's generic, it will double your open rate. It will double your reply rate, if not even more. Yeah. So I think it's a non-negotiable actually today to do that. If you talk to CEOs, to marketing managers, to whatever at companies, if you talk about cold emails, they're like, yeah, I don't read that. Yeah. I delete them. But if I send you an email and I say, hey, Bert, I saw you were wearing a black sweater today. Actually, I saw you had actually a spot on your left shoulder. I have a nice product that would help you with removing that spot. Can I send you a sample so you can try it out? Cheers, Nicholas. You would feel like, okay, this is relevant for me. Yeah. And this is, of course, B2C, but imagine B2B and taking all the information, because companies have a lot of digital information available. There's stuff on socials, there's stuff on their websites, there's open job positions, there's information about how their company grew, how many people that they hired in sales, in marketing, whatever. All those digital fingerprinting we can use to craft personalized message.
Yeah, right. And how do you control or validate the things that your research tool has given you as an output? Because of course within AI a lot of things about hallucinations and people not really buying into the whole AI hype because it makes mistakes and whatsoever. How can you control yourself that whatever your system is outputting is actually quite okay in terms of...
Yeah. Do you want that in general applied to AI agents? Because I have a nice story about that. Or do you want it applied about the outreach?
I first want to know it for the outreach.
Okay.
And then I want to know it in
And then I'll tell my other story. For the outreach agents, what I do there is that I make the thinking process visible. Mm-hmm. So that it's not just the black box, but that in the different steps, because I have my research step, I have my consolidation step where it tries to see, okay, what is relevant. I have my email writing step. And then before the email is written, I wanted to think about, okay, which value proposition of ours is most relevant for this company? What is a potential tie-in that would be relevant for their company, or a risk that we saw that they have, that we could help them with? Why would we target this target audience? What would be the call to action? What is the reason to reach out today? Create a little bit of urgency. Mm-hmm. Like all those different building blocks that an SDR or BDR would do beforehand, all that research, I let the AI agent do that as well. And I let it output it in my Google Sheet with all that research. And then once it's done that, it will write the email. Yeah. What I do now today is that I don't trust AI agents to send the email immediately. Mm-hmm. So what I do is that I put it in the drafts, so that in your Google draft folder or your Office 365 draft folder, the email is there. Everything is there, but I do the final checks, see if there's nothing weird, and then I send it out. Big difference. If I want to send out 10 emails and research 10 companies, I would easily spend the entire day doing that. Now I spend maybe 2 or 3 minutes per company. I then spend like 20 minutes on doing that. But I have 20 hyper-personalized emails that are checked by a human, that is in my tone of voice, and that is just that I'm happy with, that those go out of my name.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way that I tackled it.
Important to still keep like that human check before actually sending out things, because I don't know if everybody knows, but like the story of Brico, who had something like they had a window opener whatsoever, and something about masturbation was in there.
Yeah, but it went viral.
So that's good for them, of course. No bad marketing, but yeah, like, do you still see a lot of these things popping up, or is it just like they were using a tool that was just not capable of whatever they needed to do right now?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of times that there are hallucinations, and at this time with the LLMs, the hallucinations get in there, and you see it in emails that you get an email and you're like, yeah, dude, this is completely not relevant for me. I get why you think that, but it doesn't make sense. And if someone gets that kind of email, they will immediately delete it because they say like, this is not relevant. Yeah. Also, if the emails are way too polished and feel AI, people tend to like zone out right now. In the past, you had banner blindness. You may have known of that term. I think AI blindness is getting there as well. Yeah. People, if reading something that feels AI, they're just ignoring it and zoning out. So we don't want to have that in our emails.
Yeah, because I think it's important as well to note, you do a lot of research on the AI term, but you don't say, hey, I did some research on you. No, because that would like totally, take all the value away of the research part itself. Because I get a lot of these emails like, hey, I did some research on Fight Club. I know you're these agencies. For other agencies, we are doing this. Yeah. And whenever I just see like we did the research, I'm already like totally zoned out and I will never read it.
Yeah, indeed. That can pop the bubble.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, but it's like, so you can do the research with AI, but don't tell them it's done by AI.
No.
Because that would take the value away.
It needs to, at the end, feel like a real human. Like, if I would send an email to a potential client, I would never say, hey, I researched your website. I also checked your LinkedIn. I saw that you have that post where you've written that. No, then it's more like, hey, I saw that you're actually busy with hiring new people. Is it correct that blah, 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 blah? That's more human. That's more conversational. So that's, I think, the way you should do it. And I also, when I make these kind of outreach agents, I tend to not use the standard models, but I fine tune my models. So then based on the person that will send out the email, I first ask them, the salesperson, give me 20 or 30 of your best working outreach emails. And then I fine tune a model and use that fine tuned model to then write the emails. Yeah. Then you incorporate that tone of voice. Then you have the human element. Then you start not from scratch, but from something that works. And then after sending out 100 emails, we take the ones that work the best, we fine-tune the model again, and then that way we keep on iterating the agent.
And how do you see these kind of things in terms of monetary value? Not as in what do they bring, but what does it actually cost?
Yeah.
Because, of course, we're talking about doing some research. There will be some multiple steps. You're using multiple different AI systems, LLMs that you want to use for it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of tokens will be there.
Yeah.
So is it quite expensive to start using it that way? As in, okay, we can, of course, save a lot of time doing it, but is it also cost efficient? Or will it actually lose you a few thousands every month?
It depends on how many people you want to reach out to, of course. But I think in terms of time that you save by doing it, it's very cheap. Because NA10, you can either run it on their services or you run it on your own server. That's what I like. It's an open source tool. Run it on my own servers. I have complete control. I love it. And then I build an outreach agent that does the research on trying to find the right stakeholders that are relevant for my message, get their email address, do all the research, write an email. And then I think the cost per company is around €1. Yeah. So you might say one company, €1. Yeah, that's maybe a lot of money, but that's also not a lot of money. Because if I had to do all the research myself, it would take me an hour and a half maybe, and my hourly rate is a per company, and my hourly rate is a lot higher than €1.
I'm hoping.
Yeah. So I think it's not that expensive.
Yeah,
it's not at all. Can I tell my other story?
Yeah, of course. Go for it. Your general one.
Yeah. So you asked about how to make sure that the AI is not hallucinating and is doing things.
Yes.
So another thing that I built is an AI agent for content production. Mm-hmm. And then I have an agent that is actually doing all the research and that is checking on Reddit, on the marketing subreddits and some other relevant ones, checking out the hottest topics, reading all the comments, summarizing the comments, then writing a long brief on what the topic is about. Then I have another agent that is writing in my tone of voice, and then it creates a LinkedIn post. And then I have another agent that is going to give points on that post.
Yeah.
So then it gives points on, okay, is this actually interesting? Does this actually sound like Nicholas? Is this true, what is said here? It gives points on those things. And if all of them hit a certain amount, then it goes on to the next phase where it's then in my drafts of this could be posted on LinkedIn.
So you can also just
you have agents that check your own content and validate things and see if things are correct.
Yeah. All right. And then you just, by giving it a score, it becomes more like a data approachable kind of vibe, a more analytical vibe, and then it can actually give scores there.
Yeah, because otherwise you could have easily maybe 100 posts, and then which ones should I post? But now I just check the ones that with the highest scores that I know, okay, they pass my vibe check, and I see the ones, and then I was like, okay, this is something that I would post, and then I push it, and it could go to my LinkedIn or someone else's LinkedIn where we deploy these kind of agents for, of course.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah, that's also something that we are seeing in AI. If you give me a random dog breed, for instance, then it will totally start hallucinating, doing different stuff, or it will always give you like the same one. If you want to have it in a textual or even in an image generation, what we tend to do there is that upfront we ask for a random number, and it will just create a random number, and then we say like, okay, if number is 1, then you should use dog breed X. Then Y, then Z, and then you actually get a lot better results because it can do it on a data-proven point.
Yeah, okay, and then
it's just going into the thing there itself. But yeah, so for now, you're saying like the content structure should be generated via LinkedIn, you do the research whatsoever. Do you also think in terms of B2B marketing, again, the B2B sales agents need to start using these kind of research tools before they start actually picking up the phone for cold calling?
Oh yeah, I think it can definitely help them. So if the more info they have, the more ammunition they have, the better that the interactions will be with that people. If they could enter the office and they have a list of this is the people that you should call today if you're still doing cold calling. This is all the companies that you should call. This is the person you'll speak to. This is some latest news about them. This is what you should actually open with that will be relevant. I guarantee the success rates will be a lot higher. And I think also a lot of good salespeople, they do this work, but they do all the research themselves. They prepare all that, and now they can have an agent that do the preparation for them. I think the really good ones, they still go through it and see like, okay, does it actually make sense? Okay, great. And then pick up the phone. But it speeds up the process so much more, and it also creates a lot more value along the way.
Yeah, indeed. All right. If you go back towards like the beginning of our chat, and we mentioned like there's a big challenge or there's a big difference in between what B2B marketing was doing, let's say 3 to 4 years ago versus what it is today. We talked about like 4 years ago, it was a lot of ebooks, downloadables, making sure there was something like the reciprocity, given thing that we wanted to have in people. Right now, we actually only talked about like doing outreaches. Are there some other things that you say like, okay, you really need to do these things? Like, for instance, webinars was a really hot topic like a few years ago as well. Do you still need to do these webinars? Do you need to do it on a different level with AI, with other things?
Yeah. If I would have to start a B2B company today or start B2B marketing in a company today, first thing I would do is make sure I produce a lot of content still so that I can repurpose that content and do a lot of content on the LinkedIn of the founder and of the people within the team. I think that is still a very important one. I would make sure that I'm on Reddit and asking questions there, building community, being in the replies, because there's only this creates reach, and also make sure that you will pop up in AI search engines. Reddit is a bit overpowered at the moment, so it's amazing to use that. And a third thing I think that is still really interesting as a lead generator is to build interactive experiences. Like not long ebooks, but really shortcuts to people's problem. And that could be an interactive experience, how to do something, maybe an interactive demo, maybe it could be an ROI calculator, maybe it could be something that they could play with, that they could feel, that they could see the value, but the shortcut for them to getting to a solution. I think those are three really important ones that I would focus on first.
Do you believe like these calculators and things like that really as like a lead gen tool, or is it more like a freemium thing you can play around with it and show value with just having the calculator on your website?
Yeah, the Nicholas of 3 years ago would say all that kind of stuff should be gated, and you should put an email address for that. Today I'm saying, please open it up. Like, let people play, let people try to see how does it work, get the value immediately, and then make sure that you're able to capture the IP addresses and tie it back to a company. Like, there are so many interesting tools like Albacross or HubSpot Breeze or Lead Info, all those ones. Like, if you capture the companies that come to your website, then plug in an AI agent. Like, for another company, what we did there is that we had then all the companies that visited the website, and I saw which pages they visited, how many times they visited. I plugged that into an outreach agent. Mm-hmm. It then does research on the company. It then crafts the email, and it can tie into that. I saw that some people from your company were checking out this thing. Yep. Makes a lot of sense since you're already doing this, and this. Should we talk more about that, or can I show you how that works for that feature? Tie those two together. Magic. You get them in through inbound channels where you give value, where you get their attention, and you then convert them to outbound. Like, I love to call it like inbound led outbound. That I think is a beauty where the magic of content and outreach and AI could become together to have amazing results.
Yep. All right. Perfect. Any final things you want to say, as in these are the things you need to do, or is it like the inbound-led outbound?
I think inbound-led outbound growth is a really important one, and I think that it's something that will become even bigger in the future. And I think the most important thing for B2B marketing, let's go back to basics. Let's do marketing where we help out people. Let's not focus on capturing leads. Let's focus on trying to help as many people as possible, provide as much value as possible. And I guarantee you, it will come back twice.
Yeah. First rule about marketing, it's not about you.
Yep.
Right? All right. Thank you very much, Nicholas, for your time of being here, for sitting in the podcast. And thank you for listening to our advice. And if you have any questions, please reach out. Thank you.
And that's packed. If you take one thing from this conversation, let it be this. You don't need to be the biggest player in the market to outsmart and outperform. If you're ready to stop playing by the giants' rules and start writing your own, we're here to help. Visit us at fightclubagency.com/packed to get packed with the full show's notes and download our one-page strategy blueprint. Or follow us at Fight Club Agency on Instagram for our daily tips and tricks. Until next time, for new insights on how to outsmart and outperform.